Hold on, y'all. Let me get this. I don't know what goes on with this chat, with the chat box. Let me get that done in a second. Right now, I'm sharing this on my other pages real quick. Everybody take a minute to do that. I think it's usually once I put something in there. All right. Yeah, I guess I gotta do. I guess I gotta do the first post. But man, SW, I'm gonna be on real quick. I'm gonna come back on later. But I saw this story right here, and I was like, this is very interesting. Very interesting. Right here, you see the new shirt that's available. No vaccine for me. That's available right now. It's in this color and it's in black and white. That's available on. Hold on, let me put the link in here right now. Hold on, let me get the link from over here. I don't know that. There you go. Yeah, that shirt is definitely that's not for the faint of heart. Yeah, that's definitely a little statement right there. That's for when you definitely want to show. That's definitely for when you want to show your militant side. But you got in here Huari Kusi, West Coast Wise, Atif SW, Anthony Jones, VC Realm, The Wordsmith, Knowledge. So Huari Kusi said, did I see the Pennsylvania shooting? Now, what happened in the Pennsylvania shooting? I definitely didn't see that. I guess that adds on to some of the crazy news that's out there. Urban Gorilla. Oh, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about Huari Kusi talking about the shooting in Pennsylvania. You talking about the dudes that they was beefing over like snow, like shoveling snow? Like the dude with his wife, the one dude with his wife was arguing with the other dude over shoveling snow. Yeah, that's listen. That just goes to show you, man. You know what I'm saying? They always try to act. They always try to act like it's us, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm starting to get a little hang of this right here, West Coast wise. You know what I'm saying? A little hang of it. I still got to get used to this Zoom and all of that, but you know, big time YouTubing now. You know what I'm saying? But I gotta make a run in a minute. I just wanted to run through this story. I'm gonna be on. I'm gonna be on a little bit later, but this was an extremely interesting. This was an extremely interesting story right here. All right, everybody can see this. So this is in the AP right here. The Associated Press covered this story. This is written by Aaron Morrison, and it says analysis: a race war evident long before the Capitol siege. And, that's very interesting. Like I say, a race war in post-Obama America. I'm not sure who Aaron Morrison is. I'm gonna look him up when I get it, later on when we finish this. But for this story to appear, uh, it this is what's the because everything we see in the news right now is not just pure reporting. You know what I'm saying? We being exposed to a lot of opinion pieces that's moving, uh, that's being disguised as just raw news. And we being exposed to a lot of propaganda that's designed to make us think a certain way. So just to see the story and to see it, to see the headline covered in this way is very interesting. But the article starts out, it says, a war rages on in America, and it didn't begin with Donald Trump or the assault on the Capitol. It started out with slavery and never ended through lynchings and voter suppression, the snarling attack dogs of Bull Connor, and the insidious accounting of redlining. Today's battles in the race war are waged by legions of white people in the thrall of stereotypes, lies, and conspiracy theories that don't just exist for recluses on some dark corner of the internet. People like the murderer who fatally shot 9 Black parishioners at a church in South Carolina, telling detectives that Black people were taking over the country and raping white women, and the shooter who killed 23 and wounded 23 others at a Walmart in El Paso, Texas, targeting Mexicans, authorities say, because he believed they were invading the country to vote for Democrats. And the riotous mob, rife with white supremacists that, that bought in when Trump and others insisted falsely that the presidential election was stolen, mostly in areas where people of color live and vote. So, when we start, when I read that, uh, the room right here, what I'm saying? We people that, it's a lot of original people and people that's aware of the issues that we have to deal with. So it's nothing new right there. You know, I wanted to see where this is going. Got a little scene right there of the Battle of Capitol Hill. Then it continues, for a very long time, civil rights leaders, historians, and experts on extremism say many white Americans and elected leaders have failed to acknowledge that this war of white aggression was real, even as the bodies of innocent people piled up. Racist notions about people of color, immigrants, and politicians have been given mainstream media platforms, are represented in statues and symbols to slaveholders and segregationists, and help demagogues win elections to high office. The result? A critical mass of white people fears that multiculturalism, progressive politics, and the equitable distribution of power spell their obsolescence, erasure, and subjugation. And that fear, often exploited by those in power, has proven again and again to be among the most lethal threats to non-white Americans, according to racial justice advocates. So, how does the nation begin addressing the war of white aggression after countless missed opportunities? So, I guess this is, so far, this appears to be an article that's written. This appears to be written, in the kind of context where it's being informative to white people, because these are not things that would be stretches of the imagination to the Black population, in and out of the country. So we continue on. The Reverend William Barber II, a civil rights leader and co-chair of the Poor People's Campaign, a multicultural coalition that aims to lift millions out of poverty and oppression, said it starts with collectively refusing to have political debates rooted in lies and racist tropes. White supremacy, though it may be targeted at Black people, is ultimately against democracy itself. The collateral damage, when you keep unleashing the lies, sow the wind, and pour this poison into the veins of people, is the system becomes so septic that violence spews out of it. So, I don't know how much I like that. You know what I'm saying? When you're saying that you want to limit what people are saying. Not so much because I like what a white supremacist might say, but if you can limit what they saying, you can limit what I'm saying. So sometimes you got to be aware that just because you don't like something, you got to look at the foundation that's being set up there. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have the laws of mathematics that look, sometimes we don't want to, serve a penalty. You know what I'm saying? You would like for that to be the case, but at the same time, you wouldn't like for the principle of justice to disappear. You understand what I'm saying? And everything is positive and negative. In every atom that exists, you got protons, you got electrons. You know what I'm saying? When you deal with energy, in order for it to flow, you got to have, you know, high potential and low potential, which we often refer to as positive and negative. So I don't like that so much, but let's continue on with the article here. After taking the oath of office on the very platform that some in the mob scaled to breach the Capitol, President Joe Biden acknowledged the danger of doing nothing about systemic racism and violence born of hate. A cry for racial justice some 400 years in the making moves us, he said, a cry that can't be any more desperate or any more clear. And now a rise of political extremism, white supremacy, domestic terrorism that we must confront and we will defeat. So again, like I said, with this right here, you're saying this at the inauguration, but we don't see the first 100 days, a lot of the things that, is being addressed by the executive branch is kind of frivolous. You know what I'm saying? It's not really, you haven't done a whole lot. We do know that we've seen the racial equity executive action. What I found is that the executive action holds less weight than the executive order. So we see a lot of executive orders, go to people that are not even in the country yet. Nothing against immigrants, but just saying that you're not here and provisions are being made for you while you're not addressing this issue that you yourself acknowledge right here at your inauguration. Historically, white supremacy has advanced in lockstep with fears of Black political power after the Civil War, when formerly enslaved people got the right to vote and hold office. The white response included Jim Crow segregation, voter suppression, and oppression through law enforcement. On January 6th, the January 6th Capitol riot occurred the same day that Georgia declared the winners of its runoff elections, Democrats Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff, the first Black and Jewish candidates the Southern state had ever sent to the U.S. Senate. And it happened as Inauguration Day approached for Kamala Harris, the first Black and South Asian person sworn to serve as vice president. So we see again what I said, how this is going to be a thing where, whatever is convenient for Kamala Harris at the time. You know what I'm saying? On some days you're going to be Black, on some days you're going to be South Asian. In this right here being that, let's see if this starts moving towards minorities, instead of what they said is the actual 400-year history. You know what I'm saying? You're dealing with something that, has less time that it's been being executed. So it continues here. It should not go unnoted that at least one large Confederate flag was waved by the Capitol trespassers. Too many in that mostly white mob, non-white Americans wielded an inconceivable amount of political influence in the last election, threatening the primacy of white rule. When white supremacism is challenged, its defenders deliberately sow division in the service to the old order. This kind of mob violence, in reaction to Black, brown, and white people coming together and voting to move the nation forward in progressive ways, has been the backlash. Let's see. Oren Segal, vice president of the Anti-Defamation League Center on Extremism, said addressing the war of white aggression also requires that we stop using benign terms like cultural war to describe the violence that literally kills Americans. So this is kind of like I said, this is, just being able to get on the AP and cover cover this type of story, in this type of language is this is new, at least for me. So Segal continues, all somebody had to do was actually look at the dead bodies and the killers to realize that the threat of domestic white supremacist violence has been with us for quite a while. According to the ADL, which tracks hate violence, roughly 74% of extremists who committed homicides in the US between 2010 and 2019 were right-wing extremists, and the majority of those were white supremacists. On Monday, the Southern Poverty Law Center, which has tracked racism, xenophobia, and zealotry since 1990, said the number of active hate groups decreased last year by 11%. The decrease is due in part to a splintering of white supremacist and neo-Nazi groups and a migration to social media platforms and their use of encrypted apps. Still, the Law Center said the level of hatred and bigotry in America, as well as the threat of domestic terrorism by hate groups, has not diminished. Now, this Southern Poverty Law Center, now, while they got a history, the dude, I'm pretty sure his name is Morris Dees, that's the founder of this, they got a history of, being around in the 60s during the civil rights movement, you know what I'm saying? And, somewhere down the line, they started keeping this list of groups that they determined was hate groups. You know what I'm saying? Like I said again, though, a lot of times, you gotta remember, you can support the sword, but live by the sword, die by the sword. This Southern Poverty Law Center also has the 5% in the NOI marked down as hate groups. You know what I'm saying? So, you could look it up on their website, or maybe they changed it, but uh, again, so far, this is not news to any of us. If this is news to any of us, I guess you could let me know when we complete this part. But let's see how the article continues. Christian Picciolini, a former far-right extremist who founded the de-radicalization group Free Radicals Project, said it has become easy to authorize or ignore, or it has become easy to otherize or ignore white people who support far-right movements or join hate groups. But for too long, he said, that has been part of a collective denial amongst white people that a real-world violent threat exists. We have to understand that if we want to prevent this in the future, we have to examine our history. 400 years of what I would classify as our nation's potholes. I mean, it says Mr. Picciolini last year released an anti-extremist book, Breaking Hate. So we continue on right here. Malcolm Graham, a former state senator in North Carolina, firmly believes that America's failure to confront white supremacism cost the life of his older sister, Cynthia Graham Hurd. She was among the 9 killed in 2015 during a Bible study meeting at Mother Emanuel African Methodist Episcopal Church in Charleston. So this is again the AME Church. I suppose this church is also related to some of the people that the brother Raborn, came on and, said that these African Methodist Episcopals was, amongst the first people to be fighting for freedom, justice, and equality, and making moves to improve our condition, socially, economically, our living circumstances, et cetera, educational. So I don't know if the dude, what was his name, Dylan Roof. I don't know if that was a part of him making that decision to attack that church. But it's a question to ponder. So far, like I said, this is clearly an article that's speaking to certain individuals because, I'm sure I haven't come across any new news to anybody who's, regularly in the room with us. The massacre was a defining moment, Graham said, but that moment was wasted when officials and media overemphasized that the victims' families forgave the killer instead of investigating his path to extremism. Yeah, that's always a doozy. The article is hitting some major points. I'm not disagreeing with the article. I'm not saying it's bad. It's giving voice to things that we've known and expressed for hundreds of years. So, but like I said, for me, it's a little bit shocking to see it covered in this type of mainstream, from this type of mainstream news organization. So Graham continues, we never really dealt with what occurred in Charleston because everybody was so quick to want to clean it up. Cynthia Graham Hurd, a beloved public librarian who was just shy of her 55th birthday, died huddled under a desk in the church's fellowship hall. She had been shot at least a half dozen times. The gunman, Dylan Roof, committed the nation's deadliest act of anti-Black domestic terrorism since the 1963 Ku Klux Klan bombing that killed 4 girls at a Black church in Alabama. During closing arguments at Roof's trial, a federal prosecutor said the 22-year-old avowed white supremacist intended to start a war between the races. His actions instead sparked a national reckoning over white supremacist iconography, including the Confederate battle flag, monuments, and statues that appeared to be in photographs and drawings investigators found among Ruth's belongings. Whoa, quite a battle going on right there. So it continues here. In July 2015, former Republican Governor Nikki Haley, who is an Indian American, I mean, this is, that's rich. But former Republican Governor Nikki Haley, who is Indian American, signed legislation permanently lowering the Confederate battle flag that flew over South Carolina's capital. Many saw it as a sign that white Americans were awakening to their complicity and accepted their obligation to address disproportionate white control of government, economy, and media. 2 years after the Charleston massacre in 2017, white supremacists, the Proud Boys, and neo-Nazis held a so-called Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, Virginia. The event was staged in opposition to the proposed removal of a Confederate monument from a public park. Heather Heyer, a white counter-protester, died in an attack carried out by a rally-goer. Trump, who just 1 day before Ruth carried out his murders, launched his White House bid by decrying Mexican migrants as rapists and drug dealers, infamously said there were fine people amongst the racist Charlottesville rally participants. There have been moments when it seemed like a reckoning with racism was at hand. After the May 25th police killing of George Floyd in Minneapolis, white people joined protests across the nation. The SPLC, the Southern Poverty Law Center that I was speaking on earlier, said 111 Confederate monuments and other white supremacist symbols have been removed, relocated, or renamed since Floyd's death. But nearly 1,800 Confederate symbols, including 725 monuments, remain on public land as of December. I mean, the monuments don't mean that much to me. You know what I'm saying? I would prefer that it's kept in mind that these things happen. You know what I'm saying? In a way, that's what kind of happens. You become distracted with, TV, the movies, music, social media, et cetera, and, you kind of forget that we got an urgent situation that's going on. You know what I'm saying? It's not just about who gets the most likes on Instagram. We're talking about life and death, food, clothing, and shelter is affected by the issues that we have. You know what I'm saying? So kind of sweeping this thing under the rug, to me, is kind of the same thing that the brother Graham that was speaking about his sister that got killed at the church, right? And how, we kind of cleaned it up instead of dealing with it. So in some respects, removing these monuments, you cleaning the situation up, but you're not really dealing with it. But the article continues, Confederate symbols are not relics of the past. They are living symbols of white supremacy. As evidenced by the events of January 6th, the Confederate flag is just one of many tools still used to reassert white supremacist ideals. These symbols did not go up overnight, and the power they hold, specifically in the South, will not be overcome if we continue to stay silent. The SPLC has called for federal law enforcement agencies to devote more resources to tracking and prosecuting hate violence and bias incidents, as well as enacting legislation that shifts funding away from punishment models towards preventing violent extremism. Picciolini, the former extremist, said prevention is essential to de-radicalizing people who pose domestic terror threats. The way that I work with people to disengage them from extremism is to not really debate them ideologically. I think that's the same way America has to deal with this problem. We have to look back at our historical potholes and finally accept them and address them and embrace the people who've been harmed along the way to help shape our future together. So this is, you know, see, in anything that you deal with, you know what I'm saying? If a person has been harmed, right? One of the first things you got to do in order to, kind of move forward into this future that you're talking about, one of the first things you got to do is make that person back whole, make things back right. And so at the end of the day, all of this embracing people and conversations, I don't want to get caught up in that either. Now we're starting to go a little bit left where we're talking about these, symbols. Forget about the symbols. That you can have all of the Confederate symbols up that you want. If we dealing with freedom, justice, and equality in America, if that's what we experiencing, we not being, oppressed in all the different ways, like I said, that, affect our actual food, clothing, and shelter. You put whatever symbol on there you want. You know what I'm saying? And the other thing is about, for me, these conversations where, we having it pumped to us where, conversation. So now we deal with everyone's feelings, but you still haven't done anything to make us whole. You haven't done anything to, replace all of the labor and resources and time that you've taken from us. So, still just one little part of the article. It's still, I like the article. Like I said, you haven't said anything that's exactly news to me yet, but uh just pointing that out. So it says for Graham, who lost his sister in the Mother Emanuel shooting, the onus isn't on Black people to begin negotiating a truce in the race war. Accountability must come first, he said. I think white folks need to have a town hall meeting, and I think they need to start calling their people out. They have to be able to point a finger at folks that look like them and point them out at their dinner table, at their churches, at their places of employment. Those town halls can be spaces for healing between races. And said Lejeune Montgomery Tebron, president and CEO of the W.K. Kellogg Foundation, a philanthropic organization. At the root of healing is truth-telling. What we know in our work is that for children to thrive in the future, they need a country, a nation, and a world where there is equity. So that was the article right there that I saw. It's in the AP. It's in the Associated Press from what was the guy's name again? Aaron Morrison. It says here he began covering race and justice for the Associated Press in 2020. He is a member of AP's race and ethnicity team. Follow him on Twitter at Aaron L. Morrison. In case anyone wants to contact Mr. Morrison concerning his coverage. And this article came out today. So that was quite interesting. What do y'all think about that article right there? Hold on, let me put the link in here in case anyone wants to come on real quick. I actually gotta go make a run in a minute, and then later on I'm gonna come back But that's the link for anyone who might want to come on and and uh, comment on that. So who we got here? Dr. Vinci came in, Knowledge Allah. Jarrell Borland, Universal 7. Quizar Quaco. It's been a minute. Jarrell Borland, Melissa Davis, Smell Goods. Free to be me. So we got some comments here. So Atif said, I was reading that there is a pro-white group called the Three Percenters. They got a couple of, there's the one percenters. I've seen a couple of different percenters out there. I think I've heard of this three percenters as well. So Quizar Quaco, he defined what executive action is. Executive action is a recommendation. Executive order stands until the next president changes it. Yeah, and this is why I was saying from the beginning that these things being executive orders or executive actions, right, is not really what we're looking for. If the next person could just come in and change it. You understand what I'm saying? But then you got to look at even at some laws. If anybody recalls, right, there was a period of time, I don't know if it's changed now, but there was a period of time where we thought we had the right to vote, but we actually didn't. Because around the year 2000, they had to renew the bill. Like whatever's the bill that allows Black people to vote from the 60s, right? Around 2000, they had to, reevaluate things or whatever. So that means that you wanted to see what was going to happen. That means that if something would have happened by now that you didn't appreciate, then you would have said, yo, you know what? I ain't renewing it. See, just that you got the power over that, because remember, see, the rights of the people cannot be abridged. If the government doesn't have the specific right that's enumerated in the Constitution, it says in there, all other rights belong to the people. The only rights the government has is supposed to be enumerated in the Constitution. So for you to come back and say, okay, now you have to reauthorize what's supposed to be your right to vote, then it wasn't really a right. If a person or organization has the power over you continuing to do that, then it's not a right. It's a privilege. Jarrell Borland said, now Canada has officially deemed the Proud Boys a terrorist organization. How long before the United States follows suit, if at all? Good question. All right, Smell Goods. Good looking to you, man, for making a purchase at the Flame Labs merch store. Let me see if anybody's in there. Free to Be Me said, until we're ready to be sacrifices, until we're ready to make sacrifices, I'm sure was what you mean right there. We're going to keep reliving history. They're not going gently into the night. District 120. Yeah, so District 120, we was just reading the article. Hold on, let me put the link to the article in the let me put the link to the article in the box right here, the chat box. So anybody who wants to look that up, repost that on your Facebook or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? There it goes right there. So what are our thoughts on that? Has everyone done the each one teach one and hit the like button? So Free to Be Me said, until we're ready to be sacrifices. So what do you mean by that? Why would we be sacrifices? I understand making sacrifices. See, because that's two opposite sides of the coin. When you're dealing with a concept like sacrificing, right? You know, or you dealing with a situation that you got to stand for, right? So you're saying, be a martyr. Uh, like I said, that's a perspective thing. Also, when you say, okay, are you ready to stand for something, or are you ready to get knocked down for something? You know what I mean? Like, being ready to die is one thing, but being ready to being ready to get into the action, this is another thing. You know what I mean? Some things is about mentality. Some things is about the mentality that way. You know what I mean? So just in terms of my mind, I guess, I could be being overly optimistic. You know what I'm saying? I could be thinking too positive, maybe. You know what I'm saying? But you know, when you're dealing with a situation where, is you or me, I'm picking me to survive. You know what I mean? I'm not necessarily looking at myself as a martyr. You know what I'm saying? So and I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that doesn't have to be a part of the mentality, but it's not so much that I'm ready to die for this. I'm ready to live for this. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why I said, just the way I look at it, the terminology that I would use is that, yeah, I'm ready to make sacrifices. You know what I'm saying? But I'm AllahChrist. See, Jesus Christ, he's the guy that gives his life, right? See, me, I give life. But, that's a distinction that I make. We got anybody else who wants to make a comment? I'm gonna put, when this is over, I'm gonna put this link also in the comments in the in the comment box. So, anybody that comes on, they can see, but it's to me that was very interesting that, that was even worded in the way that it was worded. The article was worded in the way that it was worded, in the post-Obama era, what they started referring to as post-racial. You know what I'm saying? In the Kamala Harris era. You know what I'm saying? And it was also interesting, like I said, because you can look at the statements that was made by Joe Biden in his inauguration speech and see that, all right, but you didn't jump right on that. See, don't tell me that, I don't know if y'all heard about that too. It's supposed to be a new stimulus coming out. They trying to give out $1,400 now. Now, originally, he said he was going to give out 2,000. I mean, I guess we got to take 1,400. You're not going to just lick a gift horse in the mouth. However, we already see how some of these promises is falling short, and how, we got to remain vigilant. We got to remain on top. We got to continue to show and prove our power to the world and make sure that power is known. Not just the power to go out there and carry signs and make a whole bunch of noise, but the power that we had to get you elected. And so our issues should not be getting pushed to the background. Free to Be Me said the sheep can't have unity with this wolf man. We be. Yeah, District 120. Yeah, he said 2 bands. Kendall Rowland. What's the deal? Do the each one teach one, hit the like button. See, Free to Be Me, we can have unity with anybody that's prepared to do righteousness. Or should I say, anybody who's prepared to do right. Because a person may not necessarily be righteous, but if you're ready to do right in a particular situation, I can deal with you on that. Almighty Press, Jonathan Kidd. Free to Be Me said he can't be reformed. Do you know 120 Free to Be Me? But yeah, for everybody that's just coming in, there was an article. Let me post the link right here again. If you go back, I gave a little critique of what I thought about the article. You know what I'm saying? But this article that I just posted the link in was appeared in the Associated Press today. And the article was saying that there's a race war that's been going on in America, that's continuing now, and how, certain elements of the Battle of Capitol Hill demonstrated that it's still going on. But Free to Be Me, you know 120? West Coast Wise said now he trying to say, or Biden is trying to say that he wants to give out 1,400 instead of 2,000 because Trump gave 600. Nah, son. Nah, 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 nah. See, first you come in, you want to negate everything he do, and now you want to act like you adding on with him. Nah, nah, nah. Trump already said he wanted to give us 2Ks. Now all of a sudden you trying to work with Trump. Nah, nah, nah. Where's the 2Ks you said you was giving? Um, Jamal Gray said, what exactly is the criteria for a so-called hate group according to SPLC? I don't know what it is, because the threshold has been lowered over the years. You know what I'm saying? And like I'm a little bit familiar with the group and different coverage that's been of the group. So those people that they not necessarily in agreement with the group, right? They will tell you that the threshold is if you giving them some money. You know what I'm saying? Jamal Gray asked that question. Like I don't know if you're familiar with people saying that Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton and these type of people that they will accuse a group of being racist or a company of having some racist policies, right? But then what ends up happening is they get a donation to their organizations. And then that's when you see them have a news conference, where they say, well, the people is working on it. And, we had some meetings and, we no longer think that they racist. So, I'm not exactly sure what the criteria is. They have a website that you can go to. You know what I'm saying? I don't think they've stated it. District 120 says, so white supremacy is about targeting democracy, is what they're saying. Well, I think they was just saying that white supremacy is undermining democracy, not necessarily that they targeting democracy, but that the practices that they the practices, the endeavors that they undertake, ultimately undermine democracy. All right, so Shakima, what's going on? So yeah, finally, I told y'all that guy was lying. I told y'all the governor was lying. Now y'all want to fire him. I try to tell y'all, man. See, next time, y'all might listen. Y'all could have avoided all this. Uh Knowledge Allah said Neely Fuller's compensatory code system concept book talks of all this type of stuff. Yeah, West Coast Wide. Yeah, so, look, let me get my money, man. Like, nah, I don't want to hear nothing, man. Hit me. So 2Ks is what you said. 2Ks is what I'm waiting on. And they not sending the money for the kids, man. I don't know what's going on with that. But you're supposed to get money for the kids too. They haven't. Some things is not right. So West Coast Wild said when dealing with the 34th degree, you got to take into account the 33rd and the 35th degree. You know what I'm saying? But here's the thing, Free to Be Me. When you look at the 34th degree, right, it said all prophets have tried to reform the devil and was unable to. So they agreed that it cannot be done unless. See, once you say unless, right, that means that, yeah, it could be done. You just not prepared to go through, you just not prepared to go through what it takes to do it. That's what it says, which takes 600 years, right? So the 600 years that it takes, right? That's the generations that it takes because for you to try to graft the devil back into the original man, that means that you got to go have a baby with a white woman. And then, the baby will be half original. And then if that baby has, so you gotta reverse the process. They continue to kill the black seed. In order to graft them back, you gotta continue to use the original seed. So they would go from half original to red, and then red, they'd come back into the original families. So instead of going through all of that, we've decided to take him off the planet, who only numbers 1 to every 11 original people. You see what I mean? Now, contrast that with the knowledge degree, contrast that with the knowledge degree in the 1 to 14, where it says, word is bond regardless. See, there's a little fine thing in there. You know what I'm saying? So, look at it from that aspect, in terms of when you're dealing with, can you, can a colored person be righteous? Can they do the right thing? See, now in this, right, we not seeds, in a biological nature. We seeds mentally. So see what we teach, right? What we teach, if they absorb that, then that's why we have, from Azrael to justice, et cetera, et cetera. West Coast Wise said, I read an article that they're sending the money only to people who make under 50K and couples for 100K because they said people making more saved the money and didn't stimulate the economy. Look, they can decide what they want. If they need to hit me. So West Coast Wise, you got the money. Hold up, Knowledge and West Coast Wise got the money for their kids. No, they didn't. They didn't get mine. I didn't get mine. What gives me that? And they supposed to do it now for if you got adult children that's in college or whatever, didn't get that neither. Smell Good says, so how do I see the 1 drop rule? This is a British rule. Uh, the 1 drop rule, the from what I understand, the origin of the 1 drop rule was this woman that was half original back in the 1600s. I think around 1650. I can't recall her name, but she sued. She sued the I guess the slave master, but she sued saying that she shouldn't be a slave because her father was white. And so in order to destroy that possibility ever again, they changed the rules to if your mother was a slave, you were a slave. Because they knew, what their goal was, the all of this segregation stuff is about protecting the white woman from the black man. You understand what I'm saying? Is never since they made contact, right? They've never wanted it to be a separation between the white man and the black woman. They've wanted to, have access to the black woman the entire time. So they don't really worry about that's why is more directed to, because see, now that's your problem. And we don't want these half original people coming in our society causing no problems. Let them cause problems in your society. So that's more of a legal determination, and also to uh uh if you got these half white children, right, and they have any type of rights. Remember, the slave is stripped of all their rights. You understand what I'm saying? So now, if you a slave because your mother is a slave, you cannot compete with the master's white children for the inheritance. Like, could you imagine that? If you got all these slave plantations that end up falling into the hands of original people. So these is more of the reasons for the one drop rule. You see what I'm saying? And we as black people, we've absorbed it to think it's our rule. And so we try to claim everybody. But I don't go by it. Born Sincere Law came in and said, hallelujah. Neely Fuller's work is important in our endeavors as original people. We have to have a code. Mathematics is a code. Code meaning have a set way of going about everything that works. Codes are vital. Well, yeah, you're right. Supreme mathematics is a code. You know, that's the universal law. And then you have the rules and regulations that apply to each individual situation in each individual person. You know what I'm saying? You got certain universal laws in your house, but there's certain things that your moms will let you do that your pops won't let you do. Certain things your pops will let you do, your moms won't let you do. Certain things your grandmother will let you do, neither one of them will let you do. Certain things you can't do at all. Don't even suggest that around your grandmother, but your parents will let you do. Shakima says so they could be 5%ers, just start God or earth. Yeah, exactly. She's talking about colored people right here. Can colored people be a 5%er? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, nah, they not the God of the earth. Smell Good said, I need more understanding of the seeding and how to not be pro-black or anti-white with it, not to get off topic. I mean, see, we go by knowledge. We don't really go by the seed stuff. See, all those different things, that's a product of sex, the colored man himself. That's a problem or that's a situation, whether you talking about Yaku, whether you talking about, whatever method, right? In order for those characteristics, that phenotype to evolve, that genotype and that phenotype to evolve, right, is from people having sex with each other. This nation don't have nothing to do with that. Unless you're talking about the babies that we have. Like I said, me myself, I'm not going to choose to take the 600 years, you know what I'm saying, uh, to graft them back into the original man myself. But we just simply don't go by that. You know what I'm saying? It don't, all of these things, this is how you make the big I's and the little U's. That's another thing that will result in that. Because now, if I was, physically born before you, you know what I'm saying? Like, what if you got like today, right now, where people come into the knowledge at 30? So now you come into the knowledge at 30, right? If we dealing with the science of sex now, you rank above somebody who's 22, but he had the knowledge since he was 14. See, we don't go by those biological seeds like that. You know what I'm saying? That's a particular law that Yakub used in order to graft the devil. Everybody do the each one teach one, hit the like button. Yeah, Mr. Spock, you missed it. I gotta step off for a minute. I'm gonna come back on later. But we was talking about an article that was in the AP. That was in the AP. I'm gonna put the link here again. About it's dealing with an article that was written in the Associated Press. It came out today saying, there's a race war in America, a 400-year-old race war, and it's still going on. And some of the evidence of that was demonstrated at the Battle of Capitol Hill. And then, in closing out, we got into some other questions right here. Mr. Spot, West Coast Wild said, it's only recently that I saw the relations between the 32nd degree and the 1 in 40 and the 3rd and 4th degree and the 1 in 10. What's the relation that you talking about? Like I can think of a lot of relations. So Mr. Sparks said, is the human being God? Whether are all human beings God? I mean, well, what is the wordsmith in here? The wordsmith was in here earlier. Can we get what is the dictionary definition of human? Because when we say that word, it has a lot of different ways that it's used. Scientifically, if you're talking about, you just speaking to biologists, a human being is a person. But when you see the word break it down, hue is colored, man is intelligent, so human is the colored man. But then I've seen other people, not to say that they look at themselves as colored, but them saying, see, Jonathan Kidd says shade or color is hue. Um, but that's a lot of times, so you got to deal with the actual etymology of a word. You know what I'm saying? Because you got synonyms, words that sound the same, right? But they got different meanings, they got different roots. So sometimes you take a word, you know what I'm saying, that means something, but this is in a whole other language. You know what I'm saying? So we got here from the wordsmith, human means of, pertaining to, characteristic of, or having the nature of people. Smell goods, said human, adjective relating to or the characteristics of people or human beings, the human body, synonyms, anthropoid, noun, a human being, especially a person as distinguished from an animal. So, when you say is the human being God, or rather are all human beings God, well, you're talking to me now. So all human beings, even if we, original man included, everybody can't be God. You can say that, but see, like I said, in order to be a football player, you got to play football. So me personally, nah, I would never say that. But you got all worlds that you go in. You said this is the only thing or the most important thing that I think 5%ers will diverge. We don't all have to agree. Well, what do the other 5%ers say? West Coast Wise said the relation is that his physical power is less than one third that of the original man. In the seventh and eighth degree, which is what I meant, it was a typo, shows for 6 million. Oh, so you're saying that the 6 million is less than one third that the 6 million square miles is less than one third that of the 29 million square miles. Mm-hmm. So VC Rum said humanist. What humanist is, this is the root of the word human. So humanist, well, you said what's this, 12th century? Hmm. So what language is that the root? Because humanist, it sounds like a Roman word, but in the 12th century, the Roman Empire, at least the Holy Roman Empire, the Western Europe, the Western Roman Empire that was European, was not around in the 12th century. The Eastern Roman Empire still existed, but their language was more, they used more, they had more of a Greek foundation than a Latin foundation. But what is I'm still not understanding why would 5%ers have, why would they diverge on that question? So Mr. Spock said, prime example, I consider freedom someone credible. I've heard on more than one occasion him say, as long as you come under the DNA, you're God, meaning, wait. As long as you come under what DNA? What's the DNA that he's speaking on that one has to come under? You mean the black seed and the brown seed? Because the understanding how the cipher degree in the 140 would say that they don't come under the same DNA. He said, on the other hand, there are two colors on the universal flag that represent humanity, but that's only three races, maybe four, and doesn't include the white race. Yeah, I never heard Freedom saying that in particular, so I have to kind of let me know a little bit more that I can understand. Right, we share DNA with rats, with monkeys, et cetera, et cetera. You know what I mean? Because you're still dealing with life. You're still dealing with hearts. You're dealing with lungs. You're dealing with eyes. You understand what I mean? The way they particularly, manifest themselves in each form of life, right, is where the differences in the DNA come together. You know what I'm saying? But what is it? A, C, T, and G, right? It's supposed to represent the four basic proteins that all of organic beings is made of, but they organize in different patterns, in different amounts, uh, that make each being unique. But just from hearing what you said, right, and knowing what I know, I'm saying that the the understanding cipher degree in the 140, right, is saying that they don't come under the same DNA. That there's the understanding cipher degree is saying that there's enough of a difference there that you know more the same. See, you like, remember when you was in geometry class and you had similar and congruent. the wordsmith said, I found something that says Hugh, HW, in ancient Egypt was the deification of the first word, the word of creation, that Atum was said to have exclaimed upon ejaculating, or alternatively mentioned already in the Old Kingdom Pyramid text as companion of the deceased pharaoh. So that's what I said. Once you start going into these other religions, you're going back thousands of years, you know what I'm saying? The meanings and the usage, of these letters, it may or may not have a relation to the word that we have right now. Mr. Spock said, I had a disagreement with a friend a couple months ago. He said, the God in the body, that's an old teaching. A lot of people teach that. My reply was, I don't teach that. The 5% don't teach that. He said, the God in the body. That's an old teaching. It must be before my time. I ain't never heard that one. The God in the body. What do you mean? Like Fard Allah came in the person of Fard? You talking about that? I never heard this stuff. Yeah, geometry of figures identical in form, coinciding exactly when superimposed. That's congruent. You know what I'm saying? Where everything is the same. And then you got similar, where see all the angles might be the same, but the length of the lines is different. So this God in the body is basically talking Eastern teachings. Basically, all people are gods. I mean, here's the thing. God means the Most High. Like there's something to that. Like see, look, you know how you got a supervisor, right? And the supervisor is the boss until the owner come. He's the real boss. Like, so at the end of the day, no, you're not the boss. You just bossy. You're not the boss, you're the supervisor. But see, what happened is the supervisor, he's the one running his mouth. So he might look like the boss in certain situations. Now, see, when you at your job, this is a finite location. And the owner, he could come and he could go. But we talking about God of the universe? Nah, it's just this one place right here. Uni. It's one place. So how could somebody who's not the Most High be God when the Most High is on the set? Always. So there's things that I've seen divine understanding. There's things that I've seen people play, people say and all of this, but now you're not gonna get me to fall for that. my understanding, you came in right at the very end. I'm about to, I gotta make a quick dash, and then I'm gonna be back on. I'm gonna be back on later. So we got any other questions real quick? Any suggestions, any questions? I'm probably going to just address it. I'm going to address it in the next live when I come back in a few minutes. West Coast Wise said a lot of these dudes want to give the responsibility to the woman. What responsibility? Mrs. Spock said, that's what I said. You have to be original. You can be the most righteous in the country with blonde hair and blue eyes. It could be thousands of them. If they ain't original, they can't be godly. They can be godly, not God. Yeah, do say that in the what's the name, right? You ever notice that? That's something that I seen when I very first when I first got the knowledge, right? It tells you the original man is God and the colored man is the devil. You know what I'm saying? And then I started seeing in the lessons where, Musa come and teach him how to live a respectful life, how to build a home for himself. You know what I'm saying? Muhammad make them study 35 to 50 years so that they can clean themselves up. And then you have that, what's the name, where it said cleanliness is next to godliness. So see, they can clean themselves up and be next to God. See, we get caught up in, because you got all the flowery language, but remember, man, 6 is right there. You got 6 and then 7. 6 is a lofty number. A lot of people, you talk about 6 is a limitation, man. Let me tell you something. 6 is that's up there. So what you got here? So yeah, West Coast Wise says some of the dudes when they get responsibility. You mean in the conscious, I guess, what they call it, they self the conscious community. I mean, the black woman has been collateral damage, you know what I'm saying, in this battle. You know what I'm saying? Uh, you know, as the mother of civilization, there's no question that she has to be she has to be restored to her proper position as the mother of civilization. You know what I'm saying? Uh, but it's a matter of the roles that we got to play. You know what I'm saying, in the universe. In our universe. There could be other worlds, other ways of life that is matriarchal or whatever the case may be. Um, the black woman is a heavenly body. Planet Earth is a part of the heavens. We look at the heavens as being up there and out there. But now there's all the heavens right here. That's a matter of perspective, which is, perspective, that's understanding. So this is a matter of how you looking at it and how you see things. You know what I'm saying? As the mother of civilization, of course she has power. But like we was discussing the other day, see, a lot of her powers is unseen. And so, right now, the understanding has to be born, in this day and time. That's another thing you got to recall too. That, man meant man, woman, and child until you really start getting to, first of all, the like sociology, not socialist, sociology, like the study of different people and their situations and everything and how they live it. So before that, like when they say Neanderthal man or Cro-Magnon man, they mean men, women, and children. But see, once you start getting to the sociology stage, they the people that came in and broke everything down. Because now you gotta have demographics and stuff like that. That's what sociology is. They study in the different social groups. So now they come in and say, okay, we got this many men in the community and they living like this. And we got this many women in the community and they living like that. We got this many male children, we got this many teenagers. All of these is different social groups. There really wasn't. Adolescent is something from the post World War II era. There was no adolescent in the 1800s. When you was old enough to work, you started working. So through that study of the social groups, right? And then with feminism, right? The woman starts to look at her situation as separate from the man's situation. FDJ Beats. You understand what I'm saying? And then, that can now eventually, this is what you hear, when you hear brothers speaking on that topic and they speak of how that's kind of what happened to the Black family. Now you broke the Black family up into these different social groups, right? When you have, like the women, infants, and children's program. So you broke them into a separate group instead of just saying, okay, look, this is the family program. They don't got a program like that. So, like see Jonathan Kidd right here where he said, heaven is you having your paradise, which is your earth. See, the modern world that we live in, right, teaches the woman that this is a passive position where her existence is only based on whether you think she's paradise or not. And this is a Hotep channel. Let's keep that in mind. You know what I'm saying? They especially in today's society, right? They play an active role. You understand what I'm saying? So if you don't give them the knowledge and wisdom that it takes them to understand their power, right? Then you're going to see the goddesses pop up. You're going to see the divine feminine and all these things pop up, right? because we haven't made understanding born on what is the active role. Like, okay, she's paradise for you, right? But what does that mean in terms of being the mother of civilization? Like right now, if we building a house, right? And you're the carpenter and I'm the plumber. Okay, all right, we both know what we got to do now. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to collect some wood. You're going to collect some pipes. You understand what I'm saying? So if you don't lay out the mathematics as it applies to them, you know what I'm saying? Then, we're going to hear these types of things that, you may or may not appreciate. You understand? Mr. Spock said Elijah went to the point to call them God of the world, meaning the ways of the world. Calling who? The color man? See, I got to look at some of them speeches, right? Because it'd be stuff Elijah said, I don't be knowing anybody. So good said, did you ban whatchamacallit? Who's whatchamacallit? As Coach Wise said, indeed, I'm saying dudes are running from their responsibility and giving it to women and calling them God. See, now, here's the thing. You know what I'm saying? See, you can deal, right, with the matriarchal society, right? You can, but even with all that stuff, right, that world is still guaranteed by the men. Like if you ever, speak to some of the sisters that's involved with that, with some of what they saying, right, is that they need to be in a proper place, right, and have something to do with the decision making and everything, but we still got to carry the stuff out. L7, what's the deal? Natural Jew. You know what I'm saying? We still, as men, men still have to be the protectors of this goddess world. You know what I'm saying? Because that's one question, and this is a Hotep channel, but that's one question. It's okay if you God, what do you need me to protect you for? I mean, that's how we do it. Like if you God, you gotta manifest your own mathematics. So they may think that, what I'm saying, you worshiping you worshiping this woman, but even when you look at the brothers who's really dealing with that, right? Like Brother Polite, shout out to Brother Polite, right? Shout out to Brother Polite. But Brother Polite, you hear him talking one way. But when you observing them, right? When you observing them, who does it look like is the dominant force in his relationship with his wives? Jonathan Kidd says she helped aid and assist in the main goal. I mean, I'm not necessarily disagreeing with you, but see, this is all the things what I'm saying. These is all the things that I'm saying. Uh, you know, in modern society, you know what I'm saying? Like this, because what's going on in society is real. That's what's real. That's the manifestation of all these ideas and all the stuff that we're saying. So right now, they see themselves as being the main person that's accomplishing the main goal. So see, when you tell them, see, because what I'm saying is, listen, the world that existed when Elijah Muhammad was saying the things that he was saying is not the same world we exist in. See, bras hadn't been burned yet. All these different things, the type of education that goes out, you know, women's schools still basically taught them home economics at a certain point. You know what I'm saying? You know, women wasn't going to medical school and law school and all these things in 1930. You know, not saying that it was none, but that wasn't common. So this is just I'm just saying that, you know, this is what uh this is the world that we exist in, man. You know what I'm saying? That when you're doing your teaching, you know what I'm saying? You know, just like when it says you know, illiterate in the lessons, you know, when Elijah Muhammad was quoting the lessons, people was literally illiterate, meaning they couldn't read and write. See, in this day and time, we know that the degree don't apply to us the same way. We illiterate in the knowledge of who we are. We illiterate in being able to, you know, read the history, read the science, right, with the proper third eye to be able to come up with some comprehension of what we're reading. We illiterate in that language of the truth. But back then, it was a different kind of way. So I'm just saying that the world that we exist in right now, that, you know, six, like I said, six is right next to seven. So see, you can't, when you're dealing with the black woman right now, right, you can't come with like 6.98. You come with 6.999999, she's gonna pop off on you. You got to come with the highest elevation of seven. Kinetically, you know what I mean? It gotta be kinetic. Or the people that used to interrupt the classes, nah, I mean, most of them, you know, yeah, I banned. Well, there was a couple different people. You know what I'm saying? Some of them I banned. Some of them probably banned me. Who knows? Jonathan Kidd says some people get worshiping the woman mixed up with acknowledging her equality. Now, you talking like how they want to hit. Now you got to explain that equality. See, because when you look at 120, right? This is how they look at 120. They look at 120 like, wait a minute, you know, you the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, father of civilization, God of the universe. You know, you own the planet, all of this stuff, right? This, you know, all of the different stuff that it tells you, you know, you the original man, you wield a sword, all these things. But when they look at it, all they see is, okay, it says here that I'm supposed to have the babies, do the cooking, the cleaning, and the sewing. And so, you know, just, you know, everything is real. See, if you're going to just get it then to her, the colored man is offering a better deal. I get to have my own job, get my own makeup, You know what I'm saying? Wear my clothes and everything. I get to go out and do. So the colored man is offering a better deal than what you until you really define that equality, right, as being the most high as well. But that last statement you made, yeah, I'm right there with you. Did you say here, can you love her wisdom also? What do you mean? See, that's something that women, you know, women, uh, that's a certain science, divine understanding. Yeah, I'm gonna be back on later. Anyway. Yeah, y'all got me on. I'm about to jump off. But what do you mean her wisdom, like her words, or because that's one of the conflicts that arises between men and women, right? Is that as women experience more of their power, they become more vocal. But see, you know, certain kind of talking, right? See, males don't react good to that. They see if a lion comes on another lion's property and start roaring, it's gonna be a fight. Don't matter what it is, bears, where if you come around here talking out your mouth like I don't like it, it's gonna be a fight. So, I'm just saying that, just like we was just saying, where you have a lot of women that, they in a position where they the ones that's expressing all the power. So then they want to express themselves in certain ways that males is not used to. We're not used to responding, you know, in we're not amenable to barking. We're not amenable. You know what I'm saying? That's if you notice, all males, no matter what the species is, that's one of the things they do. You know what I'm saying? Is they make noise, right? That's a lot of species, they make noise to attract the women. So if you want to attract some women, you gotta go someplace else. It's just why I said I have been guilty of this in the past. Uh, my view has changed some nowadays. Smell good said wise words or wise ways as well as them actions, wisdom being used wisely. I mean, that's a problem. That's a problem. Yeah, this is a whole step channel, smell good. Let's always keep that in mind. We respect the black woman out here. But look, that's been a problem for me. Going back to my mom's, I don't take orders well from women. That'll probably get me some thumbs down right there. But if it's any other questions, put them in the comment section to the video when this live is over. And when I do the next live in a few minutes, we'll get into those. Queen Mecca says she don't take orders well from a woman either. I mean, I don't know how that how that works, but yeah, I guess maybe it's not just me. I thought it was just me. Kendall Rowland said the way I see respect and her wisdom is like how Betty saw the things that Malcolm couldn't see in the movie. I mean, yeah, that's of course. You know what I'm saying? In terms of building, you know what I'm saying? In terms of building, you know, yeah, see, Mrs. Spock, this whole tap channel. You have to say sacred yoni. You can't just talk like that, Mrs. Spock. You have to say sacred yoni. But yeah, I mean, this is a deep topic. I guess we probably gotta we probably have to continue this later on. You know, a lot of these things though, Kendall Rowland, what I'm saying is like, for instance, right? I was like the app, right? That guy just put me up on, District 120 being there too. And it was these women that was talking about how uh they're not protected by the men. You know what I'm saying? And what they were saying kind of boiled down to, if you saying something that's wrong, you don't want me to tell you to stop talking. Like I got to just keep listening to you because you're speaking from this divine feminine space. And you know uh if just in the world in general, just in the world in general, that uh kind of just the way that, men just express themselves, you know what I'm saying? And you express your power to express yourself, you know what I'm saying? Through my wisdom, you see my power. Through my power, you see my wisdom. You know what I'm saying? Now the incident in particular that she was talking about was like, yeah, the brothers who was there, they shouldn't have did it like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you disagree with her, you know what I'm saying? You went a little overboard. Especially out here in the public forum. Because see, one thing I agree with them on, right, is that people treat your stuff how you treat it, whatever it is. People treat your stuff how you treat it. If keep something messy, then other people, they're not gonna go over there and clean up for the most part. People take the opportunity to take advantage of things that you don't show that you care about it. You know what I'm saying? So, if you got your bike and you just leave it over there and leave it over there, and it's just, in the front yard, somebody's going to take it. Because you ain't really showing that you care about it. You understand what I'm saying? If you keep your yard a certain way, people going to walk past and throw garbage there. As opposed to, you see a yard where it's all manicured, the plants is all over there, you're not, it's just, you know what I'm saying? That's why, like, when you go into certain suburban areas of New York, even, you don't really see garbage on the floor. I mean, there's more than one reason for that, but one reason is because of the way the people in that neighborhood keep things. Oh man, I don't know. I don't know how we got the words from started today, but I'm gonna take that cue. I'm gonna take that cue to take it down right now. You know what I'm saying? Before y'all get me in any more trouble. I'm probably not Hotep no more right now. But like I said, everybody do the each one teach one. Hit the like button on this. If you're new to the channel, subscribe and share this on your other pages, your Facebook, the Facebook groups, Twitter, Instagram, et cetera, et cetera. And I'll be back shortly. Peace.